Well, thank you once again for joining us. My name is Jose Landeros. I'm the policy advisor for the Office of Commissioner Vince Perez over at the county. And I want to thank everyone for being here today and taking time out of your day to join us in this really joyous occasion when we have a chance to really be a part of telling the story of the history of El Paso County, the history of Precinct 3, and the history of San Elizario. This project took a lot of work and a lot of effort from individuals from the private sector, the nonprofit sector, and the public sector. So at this time, there's a lot of people that were involved, and I would really like to thank everyone who took time in some way, shape, or form to help make this possible. There's a lot of stuff that's going on here in San Elizario that's really exciting to see, and I'm glad that the county's been able to have part of that in restoration efforts like the one that we have behind us today. And with that, I'd like to introduce the County Commissioner for Precinct 3, who will give us some remarks, Vincent Perez.
Good morning. Thank you so much for coming out today. We're really fortunate to have a little wind, but it's a beautiful day overall. Thank you to the kids for being here, and thank you to the media for making the trek. I know it's often difficult to come all the way from the west side, where most of their stations are located, all the way here to San Eli, but we really appreciate it. This is a very historic day, a very proud day for the people of El Paso County, particularly for the people here in San Eli. We're very fortunate to live in a community that is very rich in history. San Elizario was actually the first county seat for El Paso County back in 1850. One of the important functions of the county and that we have here as county commissioners is the administration of justice, and that's still true today. In the courthouse, we're fortunate to have a very beautiful modern building. We maintain the budgets for all the courts, all the judges, the criminal court, civil courts. And if you'll notice, right next to the county courthouse, we have our county jail. Well, back in 1850 and 1853, it was very similar. The site right behind us here at the Adobe Horseshoe was actually the site of the original county courthouse. Right next to it was the site of the county jail. So we're fortunate to still have this jail in our inventory. We're still responsible for maintaining it. But it's a great landmark. San Elizario, again, is a community that's very, very rich in history. This weekend, we're going to be celebrating the first Thanksgiving, which commemorates Don Juan de Oñate's feast that he celebrated back in 1598 that he had with the natives. To put that in perspective, that event took place 200 years before the Constitution took effect. 200 years before the Constitution took effect. To put that in more perspective, it wasn't until about 2 decades after that that there was what most people consider as the first Thanksgiving that took place in Plymouth Rock. Harvard University, which is the oldest university in the country, was founded in 1631, some 4 decades after the first Thanksgiving took place here in San Elizario. That's the kind of history it is that we have here in this community and here in this county. And today, the restoration of the jail is just one part of that, and one part of the revitalization efforts that have taken place here in San Elizario. For the media that's present here, I know it's not often it is that you guys get to come here and check out what's going on. I strongly encourage you, not just to check out the jail, but to talk to some of the business owners who have really taken it upon themselves to revitalize this community. There's great art galleries, there's restaurants, and there's great local artists here who have lots of great work that they've put in over the years. They're the ones that have transformed this community. And so, I think it would make for great stories to see the local artists it is that we have here, because something that I have said as commissioner is that too often when we have friends and family who come into El Paso, where do we take them? We'll take them over to Mesilla, but we won't bring them here to San Eli. And that despite the great history and the great artists and the restaurants and food it is that we have here, I don't think El Pasoans embrace that enough. And so for the media and for the public that's here, let's take that upon all of us to bring our friends and family, invite more people here to come see the good work it is that's taking place here, because the story of San Elizario is a great one, and the revitalization efforts that are taking place here are really phenomenal. The jail here that we're about to reopen has been closed to the public for more than a decade. It's been closed for about 11 years. So this is really the first time that the public is going to have access to see the renovations. It was an active jail from about 1853 up to about the 1940s. In 1970, it was abandoned for some time. There were many efforts to revitalize it. There were some hiccups on the road, but the revitalization efforts never really fully materialized. That's what makes today very special, is that after many years of efforts, this building was entered into the, it was a Texas Historical Landmark in 1970. It was entered into the National Register of Historic Places in 1997. But it took us a long time to really get the renovations going, to really get it to the state that it is today. I'm just the commissioner it is that gets to come in here and really mark the opening of this. The true credit goes to several people, not only the people here in San Eli. We're very fortunate to have very talented staff at the county. I want to recognize Rosemary Neal, who's the Director of Family and Community Services. She really took it upon herself to really keep this project moving forward. And she's been very involved in this project for many, many years. Again, she's one of the most talented staffers it is that we have at the county. We're just so fortunate that she had the fortitude and commitment to proceed with this project. We also have Ernie Carizal, who is our Public Works Director. And it was really the Public Works, he's back over here. Again, there were several hiccups in the road, and last year in 2012, it was the County Road and Bridge Department that took up a lot of the work to revitalize the jail. With that, I'm going to have Rosemary speak right after me, but I just want to thank the workers it is who put in the time and the effort in the cold, in the winter, in the hot summer days to get the jail to the state it is today. I also want to recognize Irene Valenzuela, who works with Rosemary. In addition to Ernie, we have Beto Arenas, Frankie Triste, Manny Lucero, Elias Varela, Ramon Gutierrez, Ricardo Ordóñez, Alejandro Palacios, Manuel Duarte, Sergio Garcia, Armando Prieto, David Sepúlveda, and Fernando Vargas. If we can give them a round of applause, because it was really through their hard work and efforts that made this possible. There's a few other people I'd like to recognize who were partners in all of this. Bernie Sargent, who's the head of the El Paso Historic Committees. Over there he is. A really great man who does so much to preserve El Paso's history. Skip Clark, also from the Historic Commission. Al Borrego, who has done so much for this community in San Elizario and revitalizing San Eli, investing lots of his own time, his own money to get San Eli where it is today. We also have individuals like Mr. Gaspar Enriquez, who's also done a lot to revitalize this community. Again, the residents of San Eli have really done a lot. I'd also like to recognize Angelica Lewis from Representative Naomi Gonzalez's office, Gary Williams from the El Paso Community Foundation. We're fortunate to have Fred Dalvin. Where is he? Who's one of the architects who worked on the project. He donated a lot of his time and effort to this project, and we're really grateful to him and for all the work it is that he put into this. Ernie told me to recognize the Sheriff's Department, who lent us a lot of their materials. This was really a county effort where a lot of this work was done in-house, and the Sheriff's Department was really instrumental in that. Again, but as I talked about the rich history it is that we have here, something that my office is going to work on for the 4 years it is that we're in office, is that we're going to do our best to make our mission trail part of the National Park Service. We have the oldest active missions in the United States. Judge Escobar and I recently traveled to San Antonio to take a look at their missions. I was always under the impression that the missions there were inactive because they're part of the National Park Service. Well, we were wrong. They're actually active parishes. They're not the oldest active parishes in the United States, because those are the missions here that we have here in El Paso. But yet they have a partnership with the National Park Service. I think achieving that partnership with the National Park Service will really make our missions the crown jewels that they really are, and really make this a national destination it is that it deserves to be. So that's something it is that we're going to be committed to, and I hope it is that we continue to work together, establishing partnerships to make that reality. So with that, I'd like to introduce Rosemary Neal from El Paso County, who was really instrumental in making today happen.
Good morning, and thank you, Commissioner, for your very kind... Not on, all right.
It's on. It's free help, sorry.
Thank you for your very kind remarks, Commissioner. This particular project was a labor of love, and as a county employee, I think we were very moved by the dedication of residents of San Elizario who have made it their particular mission in this community to preserve the history of this area, the culture, and the tradition. We received in El Paso County a National Historic Trust for Preservation grant to do an initial conditions assessment for this building. And that gave us the opportunity to understand exactly what needed to be done to preserve this building as it existed in 1850. And that was our goal from the very beginning of this project, to use the kind of techniques, the kinds of methods that were utilized then to be able to build these wonderful buildings. Although we had the great assistance of Mr. Dalbin, what I was always impressed by is that these buildings were built by the materials around, by people who were not engineers, they were not architects. They were people who wanted to have some stake in their communities, so they built buildings to serve public purposes. And as the Commissioner indicated, the preservation of justice and the measuring of that justice in some way or form was one of those important public purposes. The intent of the county is to be able to create a series of opportunities for heritage tourism. And that is what this is all about, creating opportunities for heritage tourism along the Mission Trail. And San Elizario and all the people in San Elizario have been diligently working. We have a beautiful chapel here. We have many buildings that have been restored. We have a very vital area that played a wonderful role. And I would encourage all of you who can to come back this weekend and see some reenactments of the first Thanksgiving and the toma of this particular land. We are very proud to be able to be part of this project. We want to ensure from this point forward that we are able to not only maintain this building, but to restore other treasures. And we have the work of the Historic Commission that does all of the work that is necessary to apply for and receive state and federal recognition. And without the work of our Historical Commission, we would be unable to do many of these activities. And there are wonderful volunteers who really take a lot of great time and effort to research these projects carefully in order to present the case to the state and to the federal government for the preservation of these assets in our community. There were wonderful people who were involved in this, and I would be remiss if I did not recall Mr. Ricardo Beltran. Mr. Beltran was the individual who was working on this particular restoration in 2005. He didn't live to see the fruition of his efforts, but we're glad today to recognize him and his efforts and all of the efforts of people in the community who have encouraged and supported the county in making this day possible. So I would like to ask Mr. Ernie Carizal to come forward and recognize the wonderful work of his staff.
Commissioner, this is a really hard act to follow, Ms. Rosemary. And with that same type of enthusiasm and spirit, she approached us about a year and a half ago and she said, Ernie, I need to talk to you.
And when I tell him that, he knows it's true.
Right away, I know. But, you know, Rosemary has a way of talking to you and making the storm that's coming in the horizon seem like it's the best thing that God has ever done. And she did that to us. She said, you know, Ernie, we need your help. We have some problems. We went out to bid. We're having problems with the contractor being able to get his bid bond. And can you help us? And we said, well, I think we can. So we started off doing that. We started oversee the contractor, and actually we took them and hired them for a temporary basis to get them going. So they did the initial backbone of it. And when we started seeing that time was running out, well, we decided we're going to put our people in there. And we're fortunate that we have the staff, and we have several members of our staff who we actually stole from a contractor who was doing the renovations to the San Elizario mission. He's very thorough, very dedicated employee. Wouldn't let us deviate and say, no, that's not the way they would build it. He kept us in track. We were able, with him in charge, we were able to do the paving stones that you see out here. We were able to do the doors, the windows, the locks, custom made by local craftsmen here. And it took us a while to find them. The locks were the hardest to get them to look like the era that it was, but we were able to do that. We did the roof too, and the roof is a mixture of soap, aluminum coating, and it was boiled and then put it higher. Okay, then boiled and then put on. We did the painting. This is not paint. This is the actual lime. So everything that you see here was the actual. We're not saying 100%, but we're pretty close that that's the way it was built. We also like to thank the water district. The water district allowed us to go in to the canals and get the branches that go underneath that you actually see on the roof and the inside. The vigas, as we call them, or the joists, came in from South Dakota. Our crews, along with facilities management, went back and we shaped them at the Fabian's warehouse. We got them down here and we realized how we're going to get them on the roof. Well, the sheriff's department had just acquired a crane. So we said, you know what, let us break that crane in. So it was kind of ironic that the roof of this building was built with the help of the sheriff's department, which was the initial intent of it. It was a jail. So the sheriff had a very important part in this. There was a lot of things, a lot of people, the staff, dedicated staff. They really wanted to see it through, and without them, this project would not have been able to get done. So thank you very much, Jose.
Thank you very much. There's they've all spoken to the level of partnership that was required for this. There's a few other individuals who we'd like to thank for joining us here today, including representatives from both the El Paso Mission Trail and the San Elizario Genealogical Society. We have Los Pistoleros over here who are going to provide us with a reenactment later. And we also have representative or an individual who's actually a Manso Indian, which were people that were native to this region. Mr. Cruz Camargo and his family are here as well. And then we also have representatives from the Office of State Representative Mary Gonzalez, Ms. Arlena Palacios, and from the Secretary of State's office, Ms. Catherine Hairston. So we could give every one of those individuals a round of applause. Oh, excuse me, thank you. And then we also have a representative from Congressman Gallego's office who represents this area in the 23rd Congressional District. So, thank you all for joining us. At this time, if we could get everyone who helped with the project up to the front, we're going to actually proceed with the ribbon cutting.
Sanchez began reenacting history in San Elizario. He reenacted the first county seat of El Paso. Along with some men, reenacted the first county seat. Also, that grand celebration in 1950, which was a centennial celebration of the first county seat established in 1850. They also reenacted a breakout of Melquiades Segura by his friend El Chivito. Wave your hands, El Chivito. Now, I have in my family 4 generations in a row reenacting history here in San Elizario with my grandfather Antonio Padilla Sanchez, my father Samuel Sanchez Sr., myself and my wife, I'm Vicente Sanchez, Olga Sanchez, and now my sons also reenact. I have one of my sons here, Michael Raymond Sanchez. 4 generations in a row reenacting history in this jail right here on these premises. Now, if I can ask everybody to step back a little bit. Children, you're going to have to move back a little bit because the firearms that we use are real, but we're using blanks. But the fire that comes out on these blanks can hurt somebody.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
So we're just asking you to step back a little bit. Also the cameras if you can. Thank you very much. And I hope you enjoy the show. A little bit of history. The breakout of Melquiades Segura by his friend El Chivito. Billy the Kid. Now, Commissioner Vince Perez, you're going to help us out with this since you are here today. And you will be told what to do. Está bien. Mucho ojo, Fermín. Macario, véngase, camine conmigo, no me tenga miedo, hágase en un lado de mí. Cuidado con este pueblo porque anoche estaba jugando barajas. I was playing cards and I won a lot of dinero. Me, Melquiades Segura. Are you mute? You don't say nothing. Mucho dinero, mucho dinero. There you go. Mira, mira. There you are. What are you talking about, Margarito Mendoza?
You took our money.
What?
You took our money the wrong way.
I took your money?
Yes.
I beat at Grand Square playing cards.
No, not that way. Not that way.
No, he's lying.
Not that way.
You know what? I don't like people calling me cheaters, eh? Why don't we take care of this right now, Margarito
And now I
Mendoza?
spend it like you. You understand that? So
You don't talk to Melquiades Segura that way, huh?
You're gonna have to buy moves out of this town.
How about if we take care of this right now, huh?
He's not man enough to take care of nothing. You understand that?
You shut up in your mouth!
You shut up.
Put your money where that iron is. If you're gonna clear that leather, use it. Don't just talk.
If you're gonna shoot, shoot. Don't talk.
That's what I said.
That's what I say too.
Huh? Look at you now, huh? You look like a costal de papas there, maybe there.
You killed him!
Vámonos, vámonos, vámonos.
Ah, he's not gonna talk.
Vámonos.
He's not gonna talk. What happened here, huh? What's going on here, huh? Who are you?
I'm the sheriff. Let me go ahead.
Are you the
He
sheriff?
killed him!
Sheriff who?
Credit Ivory.
You need some help.
I sure do.
You do matter.
Hold it. Hold it. Wait, hold it. Hold it right here. Hold it right there. I need another deputy.
Get him off the street.
Sir, we need a deputy right now. All right. Okay. Rich, all right. All right. Okay. Directly,
What's going on here, huh?
directly,
What's wrong?
me, the people, you might say, pistolero?
No.
All right. Okay, my papá arrested me para Texas and in Paso County. I make you a deputy. All right. Let's go.
I get to take this with me, right?
Take your gun out. Take your gun out. Now put this gun in the chair.
Oh, no, what's happening here? Who are you? Now? You can't do nothing. Have to.
So let's give them a round of applause. Our storm.
Listen up. There's gonna be some men hombres coming over here trying to take this man out. I want you to stay guard. Stay right here. Come over here on this side. You come over here on this side. Right here. Don't fall asleep. All right. Texas Ranger. I got a prisoner to bring in. Who are you? Texas Ranger. I got a prisoner here. There's a couple more on the other side. Prisoner? Over there on that side, on the back of the jail. There, here, where? Where? That side over there. Go ahead. Come on. You the prisoner? Don't move. Put him down. Don't shoot them. ¡No dispares! ¡Quietos! Don't shoot them till we clean the kid.
Vámonos, Chivito! Vámonos! Who put this tree here, huh? Vámonos! Vámonos, Chivito! Vámonos!
All right, let's give it another round of applause.